So welcome to today's AI Oxby Exchange. And we're going to delve deeply into how to use ChatGPT's new agent mode. So what are we actually going to look at today? So this agent mode is going to be one of the most powerful. And the reason I say that is because everybody has used ChatGPT. Everybody knows what ChatGPT is. AI agents were kind of this sci-fi, wonderful kind of thought, kind of our belief of what these systems will become. But actually, it's incredibly simple when we get down to it. So we're going to break down what agent mode actually is. Remember, the lens of what we're talking about today, it is all within ChatGPT. Agent may mean different things within different platforms. So the terminology and the way that we will talk about this today is all about ChatGPT. Yeah, so that's just something to recognize. We will then kind of look at agent mode. So we'll see how it switches between tools like a browser, a terminal, and API access. We'll walk through an example live together today. And like I said, if you are comfortable with what your ChatGPT has access to and the data it has access to, you can, of course, follow along with me. If you are unsure and are a little bit, I don't know how this really works when I think about my company's IP or sensitive data, then please wait until the end of the session and then try this in your own time once you can check back kind of what is connected to your ChatGPT. And I'm also going to explain to you all of the ways where you can stay in control. The ways that you can interrupt this process, how you pause this process, how you take over the browser, and how you stop a task at any given time. It may seem a little invasive when you actually see how the agent works, but realistically, if you are secure in what you have connected to your ChatGPT, it shouldn't have access to anything that shouldn't be there. So let's start today. If you want to know about me, I am a tutor at the college. I teach AI marketing and also marketing technology. I have a digital agency in Gothenburg that bounces between London and Gothenburg in Sweden. And my love for this expands all the way up to a PhD. So this is what I love, this technology, this access to data that as marketers, leadership, we can now have access to propel our brands forward. The digital world is incredibly saturated. We all know that. So why are we not harnessing, accessing these tools that are truly actually going to move things forward for our organizations? So let's start. And as I said, interrupt me with any questions that you have. So very basically, what are AI agents? Yeah. So imagine working alongside a teammate who never gets tired. They continually learn and adjust to your needs in real time. Sounds perfect, right? And that is the overarching promise of AI agents. And it is these intelligent systems that are changing the way industries operate by automating workflows, revealing insights from data, and helping people achieve more with less effort. We all know that within our roles, the expectations are becoming bigger and bigger. Yeah, they are becoming more and more detailed in what we're expected to do. So actually having processes, technology that can take away that grunt work leaves us in a position that allows us to continue a strategy to bring in everything that AI cannot do for us, because it is not a replacement of experience or expertise. So AI agents at their core, AI agents are intelligent programs, and they are designed to accomplish tasks using a variety of tools they are connected to. Yeah. They remember instructions and they adapt as tasks evolve, or new information becomes available. They are often powered by multiple AI models working together, and these agents know when to pull in external systems or data sources to get that job done, to complete what we have asked them to do. So in short, AI agents are capable of making decisions and acting independently with minimal human input. Now, does that make anybody uncomfortable? You can let me know in the chat. You can give me a thumbs up, whichever is easiest for you. Does that make you uncomfortable that these systems would be making decisions on the data, on the things that they have access to, and then doing that, actually doing that? Yeah, so Carolina, she thinks that that is a little bit uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. Yeah. But why do we feel that that is uncomfortable? So it's just like a second to have a think about here. Like, are we uncomfortable because that decision is out of our hands? Are we uncomfortable because we don't understand how it's got to that decision? Are we uncomfortable because it's taken over part of our job? Is there anyone that wants to share what makes them uncomfortable about that? But that is the key here, and something I really want you to understand, that AI agents are capable of making decisions and acting independently. That is what is going to happen here. Yeah. So what does agent mode in ChatGPT actually mean? Yeah, Andy, you see it as delegating to any member of your team. As long as you told them what to do properly, I don't see any issue. Yeah, because it may be different than what we want to decide. Yeah, of course, that's always a potential issue. But again, Andy, like you say, if we set things up properly, it has access to the right thing, why would we be worried? A lot of the problems come with AI agents when they are not understood and they are not cemented properly in systems and they don't have access to the right things. If we're not giving it the access it needs, then it's not going to make those decisions that we need it to and create the thing that we need it to, right? So what do they actually do? Yeah. So let's understand what it does. Let's understand how this is different from traditional GPT. So it is a powerful upgrade. Instead of giving you suggestions or answering one question, you know, like where it's like, what should I do with all these leftovers in my fridge? And then it gives you a recipe. ChatGPT in agent mode can actually do things for you. Yeah, it is almost like a digital assistant that can take action, not just talk back and be your sounding board, because that actually is what ChatGPT, like a traditional way that we've been using that, works. So it can perform real tasks on our behalf, not just offer information or advice, but take action based on our expectation. The next kind of thing it does to achieve that is it can use tools on its own. So whatever we connect to ChatGPT, including APIs, our platforms, we log into places, it can use these tools without us being there. Yeah. It also remembers what it's doing. So it keeps context across the different tasks. And this is incredibly powerful as well, because realistically, even in ChatGPT, even in a folder, there is a limit to it actually containing that information throughout that conversation. Throughout the whole task and until completion of that task, the agent mode retains all of that information. It doesn't need to dump it to be able to continue like traditional kind of tokenization does. It can also run semi-autonomous workflows. And I say the word semi-autonomous here because we still have the last say. We can interrupt. It is not something that will happen autonomously without us having visibility and without us being able to stop it. It often, at the moment, at the level it is, it also still asks questions. Yeah, it's still learning. We're at the beginning of this kind of opportunity within this space. So if you've connected it to the right tools and permissions, it can string together those actions without us pre-programming, sans manual intervention, and execute them with limited input. Yeah, so does that make sense? That is the key difference in the way that we're going to interact with this version of ChatGPT. So how do you use it? So everybody log in, everybody open up their ChatGPT. And basically, we need to enable agent mode. So this is very simple. This is incredibly simple. And people are always like, is that it? And I'm like, yeah. So all you need to do is I want you to open up a new chat, a brand new chat in ChatGPT, and then put the / Yeah. And then what you will see is there will be a drop down of all the original options that you had with this software. So kind of the create image, study and learn. And agent mode will be at the top. And that is it. That is how we connect to agent mode. There is no difference in the UI or where you need to access this. You know, like for Sora, you have to like go out and then come back into ChatGPT. Agent mode is directly embedded into its general chat. So new chat, hit your / and then we are ready to go in that spaces. Yeah. So what it then needs. Okay, so agent mode is only accessible for those who pay for a subscription. If you are paid for a subscription and agent mode isn't there, I suggest you log out, you clear your DNS and all of your cache, and then you come back in and just give it a chance to reset. That's one thing that people have been noticing. Okay, so what we then need to do is in that section that you've just started, yeah, you've just clicked start a new chat, you've put / you put agent mode. We then need to connect it to things, yeah? And we can make ChatGPT in agent mode much more helpful by connecting it to our own files and tools like Google Drive, GitHub, SharePoint, and more. This lets it pull in real data. It allows it to search our documents and give better, more personalized answers and take action right in that traditional chat window we have experienced traditionally. Yeah. So what can we do with these connectors? So depending on the kind of plan that we have, these are all available in the standard one, but then as you go higher, you can add in specific things, but I'll explain those as I go. So once we've connected these areas of discovery, we're allowing ChatGPT to understand the world in a different way. Every AI system can only understand the way the world works by the data it was trained on originally and the data that we hand it, the data we give it access to. Now, you need to remember that that is gospel to that system. So if you are putting in rubbish data, you will get rubbish out. And also you need to be careful with if you're using historical company data, for example, what biases could be in there? What rubbish kind of data could be in there that is not going to actually give you any insights moving forward. So it allows you, once you connect these different areas, to search your files and tools during a chat. So for example, with the agent mode, you could go, oh, find last week's roadmap in this platform or show me the Q2 goals in the drive. So what that system will then do is it will go and then it'll pull it back. Yeah, without you spending the time wondering where that documentation is. It also allows you, because you've connected it and giving it this wider experience of the world, you allow it to do deep search research across multiple sources at once. So this is really great for if you're tasking it with things like business analysis, that you need it to link back to its original sources. By connecting these kind of areas of information, we always give it access to important information, so it's ready to go. So we're syncing selected folders ahead of the time, so from Google Drive. So ChatGPT can answer questions faster, more accurately, without having to research every time or without you having to upload all the time. So I'm going to tell you now, from a safety and security point of view, how ChatGPT uses those connected apps. Yeah. So when you turn on a connector like Google Drive or GitHub, ChatGPT can send queries to that tool, so information back and forth to find the information you need. And it then uses the prompt and any saved memory. So it can, if it's been in this area before, it may already know where it is to improve search results. So if you once mentioned a file name X, it'll already know where that is, for example. You need to use the info, it'll then use that info it finds to help answer your questions or as part of a web search. Yeah, so it'll know what that is allowed to be a part of that task. And you may be wondering what's shared the other way with connected apps. So only what is needed to complete your request is shared. For example, if you ask, where did I handle file uploads in my backend code, ChatGPT might send a few search terms to GitHub to find the best match. Yeah. If memory is enabled, so that's in your settings, that's a specific setting within ChatGPT, it might also use things it remembers, like project names, to improve the search. You may be wondering as well, is this data used to train ChatGPT? So this may become surprising to you. For team, enterprise, and education plans, no, your data from connectors is not used to train ChatGPT. For free, plus, and pro users, your data may be used to improve the model. And one reason that could be is if you've got something called improve the model for everyone turned on. But what you can do is actually turn that off. But that doesn't guarantee that the information it is connected to isn't used to train the model. So that is just something for you to recognize, especially when it comes to intellectual property and things like that. So to do this, to connect your connectors, you go to your ChatGPT settings, you go to tools, connectors, you choose the app that, like, for example, Google Drive that we want to connect. You sign in and approve access. So that is you allowing access into for ChatGPT. And then we start using it. We start using that additional space. So by giving it access to these spaces, we are allowing it to understand our world. We are giving it the boundaries of how it will complete the task for us, right? So if you are on one of those free plus or pro users, it's also important to understand that you need to make sure that you understand that your data may be used in those spaces. So Iona, you received an error when clicking to connectors, error fetching connectors. It's still in its infancy, so it is having some bugs. May just take a while. You can reset, you can log out, log back in to kind of understand that process there. So there's different types of connectors, and this is going to be important when you think about how these connected spaces are going to be used by ChatGPT. So there are things called quick search connectors. So this is great for quick searches. So it's used for things like finding files, reviewing content, checking goals, and the results show up right in the chat with links to open the files. So chat search connectors are things like Google Drive, it's different spaces, it's using the old memory, those kind of things. We have deep research connectors. These are ideal for big projects where ChatGPT pulls info from multiple sources, like internal docs on the web, to create detailed cited reports. So if you're asking it to do things like summarize everything we shipped in the last 2 sprints, compare our user adoption to industry benchmarks, those kind of things. We then have synced connectors where you can preload and sync certain files so that ChatGPT doesn't have to search each time. This makes answers faster and often more accurate. And then we have custom connectors, which are available for Chat Pro users, ChatGPT Team, Enterprise, and Education workspaces. So instead of just using the connectors that are offered by ChatGPT, you can actually add your own apps and internal tools. Which types of subscription do not use your data to train the model? So those were, let me just double check so I don't get these wrong for you. Team, Enterprise, and Education. But that's always been the same in that kind of spaces. So what do you need to know? I'm telling you that this is wonderful. I'm telling you that ChatGPT agent mode will change things, and it will. But there is, as with every AI system, there are things that we need to talk about. So using ChatGPT agent is incredibly powerful. But because it can access and act on your behalf in connected apps, Google Drive, Gmail, GitHub, for example, very easy ones that you can connect, it's important to use it safely and responsibly. Why should you be careful with connectors and logins? Now, I know I'm preaching to the choirs here, right? And I'm just letting us kind of think about the issues when we connect these spaces to this type of technology. So when you connect ChatGPT to apps or sign in to websites through the agent, it can access sensitive data like emails, files, and settings, and even take action on your behalf. So an example of what has recently gone wrong, you may have seen it in the news. We asked the agent to plan a dinner using your calendar and your recent emails. While browsing for restaurants, it lands on a site where someone left a malicious comment, like a prompt injection. That comment tricks the agent into doing something you didn't ask, like grabbing a password reset code from your Gmail, sending it to a bad site. This is incredibly rare, yeah? And ChatGPT has layers of safety features to prevent it, but you can also take steps to protect yourself. So be thoughtful with your connectors. Only connect with apps you need for a task. Disconnect them when you're done. Don't leave them idle. Avoid vague instructions. Don't say things like, just go through my email and do whatever you think best. Not that many probably at this webinar would, but I know maybe if I tell my mum how wonderful this is, my mum would go, yes, it can do all of that for me now. Yeah, and she would end up in trouble. So be clear and specific about what you want the agent to do. We can use things like take over browser when it comes to sensitive info, and I'll show you what that looks like. If a login is needed, the agent will pause and let you take control. When you do this, it won't see or record your password, just so you know. We can also stop a task if something seems off. So when we go through an example shortly, you'll see that actually it just happens, yeah? And you can watch it. It's like helicopter parenting. You can watch it do absolutely everything, but also that transparency is incredibly important. We can also clear our cookies and our logins when done. So go to your ChatGPT settings and choose to sign out and clear cookies from the remote browser. And we also need to review connector permissions regularly. I really want you to make sure that you're turning them on and off. You don't need them to remain idle, because you can manage and remove any connections you no longer need in your setting. So since this has kind of come out, there's been a lot of questions that people have been asking, and I've kind of collated some of them today so we can just quickly go through them so that you are comfortable trying out this new enhanced piece of this software, right? So we have, can ChatGPT see my password? No. When you control the browser to log in, the agent cannot see what you type. So that's great. So why does it take screenshots? So the way that ChatGPT processes some information is it will take screenshots of what it is connected to. And the reason for this is that the agent sees the web like a person. So by taking screenshots of the browser, it knows where to click or type. But when you take over, screenshots stop. just so you know. What happens to your chat data? Your chats and your screenshots stay in your history unless you delete them. If you delete a chat, all screenshots from that task go with it. How do you stop your data being used for training? Now, this isn't a perfect stop. Yeah, your data could still be used, but what you can do is go to settings, data control, turn off, improve the model for everyone. How do you allow ChatGPT to access your website? So if you run a site and want ChatGPT agent to interact it, you may need to tweak your firewall. That is one thing that people are kind of discovering. And there is a guide for that directly in the help section within ChatGPT. So that ChatGPT agent can do a lot, but with great power comes great responsibility. So use it wisely, be smart, stay alert, make sure you're watching it, make sure you're checking in with it. So has anyone got any questions on what I've covered there? Just pop them in the chat. Now, there are some limitations. There are some significant limitations. We are used to using ChatGPT, like I can ask it 40 different things about the same thing, right? But there are monthly usage credit limits for ChatGPT agent, and they are counted by your subscription. Yeah. So when we think about like that, we need to make sure that we're maximizing the use of those credits. And that's important for us to recognize before we start going in and asking it anything really. And actually asking it things that should be on the other side of ChatGPT, the standard generative side, rather than the agenic kind of side. So how do we maximize that? So I actually want you to not always start with your agent. I want you to start with regular ChatGPT because this is unlimited. So we're kind of using this space instead of the task agenic space to brainstorm our ideas of what we want, draft or revise our prompt ready for the task agenic side, maybe map out our workflow if we want to get really specific on asking it to do a certain task. Once you're actually clear on what you want to do, then I want you to switch to agent mode. And that is where we get the job done. Yeah. And the reason is this saves you from burning agent messages on things that don't require actions. We are very, very used to adding more, saying no, saying thank you. And actually, what we need to do is be very specific when we're using the agenic side. Yeah. So that's what I want you to start to do. Then I want you to think about batching tasks together. So we need to think like a project manager, because remember, the agenic side is going to help us come to a conclusion. It doesn't matter how many steps it takes to do that, but we need to think about like a project manager. So we need to, instead of sending one instruction at a time, we need to combine related steps into one message. So make sure we're uploading multiple files in one go, pull multiple reports or data sets at once, summarize several documents in a single request. And this limits our back and forth. Yeah, and it saves us credits because believe me, with how we're used to using general ChatGPT, 40 credits isn't a lot. How many of you speak more than 40 times a day to AI generative systems? I then want you to reuse good prompts. Yeah. If you do the same kind of task often, I want you to create what are classed as reusable prompts. Each Monday, summarize the new documents in this folder. So what is the agent going to do? Every Monday, it's going to do that for you, but that will not cost you an additional credit. We need to upload these blog posts and format them for WordPress every 2 weeks. Great. It will continually do that every 2 weeks for you, but it won't be another task. And save these in a document or a note so you're not rewriting them every time or re-asking it every time. So yeah, so reuse kind of prompts to get a something that happens kind of systematically to be done for you over time. And I also want you to think about triggering multi-step automation with one command. So we're getting it to trigger a certain process using one message. So an example could be, at a set time, your calendar triggers an automation. So generate invoice, email it to a client, notify you on WhatsApp. And what we can do is, instead of or setting up like a automation or things like that, we can connect our ChatGPT agent, all of this, explain the process once, and then whenever anything happens in your calendar, like for example, you put in invoice X client, or a payment is made for a retainer, then you get this kind of process. Yeah. So one message can trigger many actions. So we do need to start thinking about those kind of processes. And we also can use agent mode for live interactive tools. So this is where we're logging into live platforms like Google Drive or GitHub. We're asking it to interact with dashboards, spreadsheets, or dynamic systems, and then take real action. Yeah. So with this, though, you will be asked to log in yourself for security. And we should never give our passwords to the agent. It will prompt you to take over the browser when needed. If you are logged into places on the browser, do you think it automatically has access to those spaces? You can let me know. Yes. Yes, of course it does, because it's logged into your browser and you've given it access to your browser. What it does sometimes, though, is it does double prompt. So it will say again, can you log in? Just to kind of give you a secondary kind of thing, but that's not all the time. Different browsers react differently too. So it's just important to recognize that anything you're logged into, your own, your clients, the company property, it will have access to. Just going to answer this question very quickly from Martins. Please, when we set the agent to summarize task every Monday, is it that the agent is connected to our files to do that, or we input manually? So it will recognize that new files have been added to that folder, and then every Monday it will summarize that for you. And then however you ask it to summarize. So you can ask it to pop it into a Google Docs. You can ask it to whichever is the easiest for you, realistically, and how you work. You can even ask it to pop it into your CRM, into your project management, whichever you prefer. But remember that we're giving it access to these glorious spaces, right? So we need to be mindful of these glorious spaces. Amazing. So I'm going to give you 3 examples now, because I've spoken a lot to you. I've told you a lot about what this system does, what we need to be mindful of, but I'm going to show you how it actually works in action now. So if you wanted to create dynamic emails on autopilot, this agent can do that for you. So a summary of what will happen. Agent mode customizes and sends highly personalized emails by analyzing CRM notes, past interactions, and lead data. It automates messages, drafting for each contact, improving engagement, and saving time. How amazing is it that you could do 1,000 directly personable emails to that person, to those people? I wouldn't suggest sending 100 to 1, like for example, but realistically, it can find the information from the CRM, that individual's preferences and behaviors, how they like to be connected with, draft something that is to them, and then also send it if you wanted to. So a sample prompt that you can pop in here: review our email list, can cross match that with our CRM indicators, write personal outreach emails for each lead, focus on addressing past support issues or their interests from the CRM. And the only things that you need to connect to it to get it to do that is your Gmail connector in this instance, or your whatever you want to draft and send emails, your CRM. So it could even be a shared Google Sheet, as long as it has identifiable things, so it can connect an email address to the right person. And optionally, you could put documents of past interactions with that client or an email that you like as a reference. The worrying thing here is that this seems amazing, right? But we need to remember the limitations of generated AI content. We need to remember the possibility of this getting it wrong. So before sending it out, maybe put it into a spreadsheet. You can check it. Check 10 out of the 100. If you're happy with 10, realistically, the rest are going to be okay. Because I want to save you time with this. I don't want you to lose time by checking 100 emails, for example. So also think about what your boundaries are when it comes to AI use within your organization. So that is like the first thing that you can do. You can do a one-click newsletter writer. So agent mode can pull top news, recent content, and trending topics to generate a full on-brand newsletter draft. Perfect for marketers or founders short on time. A sample prompt here: create a newsletter draft using our latest blog post, top 3 industry headlines, and 1 trending meme. Always a trending meme in a newsletter. Use a friendly tone and include call to action links. And what you would need to connect here is Google Drive for your blog posts or your website, wherever they are stored, RSS feeds, or let your agent browse websites like TechCrunch or Twitter, whichever is your preference, and then Gmail to preview or send newsletter drafts, or even MailChimp if you wanted to give it a template. Now, this is one that I find incredible. So there's been many platforms that have tried to provide this for organizations, and that is lead generation for things like LinkedIn. And this is where the agent finds and builds prospect lists from LinkedIn or company websites, then writes tailored outreach messages that you can send to warm up those leads. So a sample prompt: find 50 e-commerce directors at fashion brands in Europe, draft a personalized LinkedIn connection message for each based on their job, title, or company. And what we need to connect here is our LinkedIn. So our agent mode browser will need access to certain pages. It will tell you that. Your CRM, if you want to sync the lead info, a Google Sheet to export the lead list, and that's it. So I'm going to show you this one now. We're going to do this one together because I think it's a great way for you to see how powerful this is. So has anyone got any kind of questions just while I set up the right screen? I have 3 screens, but I still don't have enough. Well, I always say that whenever it comes to doing webinars. Yes, so the reason that there is, it's always a worry when I say, like, you need to make sure that you are realistically making sure that you know what you're connected to, is if you're not switching on and switching off those systems and you have things going on, it could realistically go and check it out without you knowing. Yeah, so we just need to treat it like a team member, that we give them access to certain things at a certain time to complete a certain task realistically. No, that's a really interesting question. I don't think we will have access to this in this way forever. And the reason I say that is it's incredibly expensive. Agentic processes require incredible amounts of tokenization. I think this is a process for ChatGPT to create a great agent that then may be at a higher price realistically. So it's important. I think it's really good to try it now. So all we need to do, like I say, is we want to enter agent mode. Yeah. So I have 36 goes left until September. I then paste my question. So I'm going to reduce it from 50. I'm just going to put 10 so I can make sure it actually does it within the time. So the sources that it is connected to, it's connected to a spreadsheet processor. It's connected to the internet and the browser that I am in. And what it is going to show us now is every step it takes to complete that. This is an example of a full project. So we're asking it to do certain things and create an output, which is it's actually a very small prompt in reality, but it's just good to show you. The prompts that I want you to create are incredibly, I want them to be incredibly detailed with multiple steps. Yeah. The more you ask it, the more you can get out of it, but also the more complex it becomes. So then you can also end up with issues when it comes to the actual output. So let's watch. So what happens is it starts to think. It starts to set up its external process where it needs to do, and it double checks. So now what it's doing is it is double checking if it understood. Yeah, it understood. So this is what it's doing now. It is explaining to you directly the process it is going through to find me 10 e-commerce directors at fashion brands in Europe. It will then, once it has done that, draft a personalized LinkedIn connection message for each, tailored to their job title and their company. And the reason it talks to us in this way, I'll get started now and share the results with you. Why do you think it talks in such a nice way? Does anyone have an idea of why it is set up that way? Let me know. Yeah, so it's not scary. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because realistically, it is quite scary. This is accessing my whole browser. Yeah, I have given it access to the internet, to up-to-date internet access, which general ChatGPT doesn't have. So as you can see, it will continue to tell me whenever something is happening. Yeah. So it is continually telling me, I am doing this. I am doing it in this way. This is how I find information. Now, as this is doing this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through how we stay in control. Yeah. How we stay in control of this process. That, I mean, yeah, that team member is trying to make sure that you know what they're doing and that they're doing it correctly, right? So we can pause and update tasks at any time. And the reason we do that is we go onto this little button here and we can take over, we can stop, and we can give information in a follow-up here. So if we can see that it hasn't got it quite right, or there's something going on that isn't quite perfect enough, we can give it new instructions. We can change its direction. We can add extra tasks, like asking for a competitor comparison in the middle of a report. This flexibility lets us adapt tasks on the fly without starting over. Yeah. So that is, you can just stop it, and then that severs any connection that that agent has to any spaces. Yeah. Yes, it's also about imitating. Like it makes it feel like it's just another team member, right? It's removing this fear. So did you notice there that it said that it tried to open a page, but it couldn't? And that could be for a few things. It could be the firewall on that website doesn't allow an agent in. It could be my own security software not letting them access that. It could be a dodgy site. It could need a login that we don't have. It couldn't find that login. So it just found another way to overcome that. So it's just still searching the web, finding these 10 e-commerce directors at fashion brands. What you may see is it may attempt to check things like my logged in LinkedIn, my logged in Facebook, those kind of things. Now, what that means is it is accessing sensitive areas. They are classed as sensitive areas. So what you can do then, if you notice it doing that, or it can flag it, is you just take over. So what that means is you stop it having access, and then you can restart the process. Do you notice how it paused because I was hovering over the takeover browser? But it's fine. It knows it's still okay. So what we then do is we would do the sensitive part. So we would log in if we wanted it to have access to it. So we would put in like typing a password, for example. And while we are in control, no screenshots are taken to protect our privacy. This keeps tasks secure while still letting the agent help before or after. Yeah, it'll pick right back up when you give it back access. We need to be watching what the agent is doing. I ran a test earlier where I did the same prompt and I did 50. It took 38 minutes for it to complete. Now, while that was happening, I was working, I was checking back, working, but realistically, with the kind of way this technology has access to our things, we should be having eyes on through this. Well, that's an interesting question. As this is live searching rather than a bot does it ignore the Cloudflare anti-AI scraping rule? Yeah, it kind of mitigates that. Agents mitigate that kind of restrictions when it comes to that, because realistically, we are still asking it to do this task, even though it is performing it itself. And this is amazing. So what you can also do is you can go back and double check what it has done here. Yeah. So you can monitor the agent's actions in real time through that activity log. So we can see exactly what's going on. We can step in if something doesn't look right. We can learn how to give it better instructions next time. So we need to think of it as having a transparent assistant that we always know what it's up to, as long as we're checking in. It is our responsibility to check in. Yeah. So good news, only your direct messages to the agent, so starting, pausing, or replying, count towards your daily usage limits. Confirmations, clarifications, and sign-ins don't count towards your restricted amount. So we can guide, correct, or assist the agent freely without using those 40 messages. So we can stay involved without worrying about wasting credits. So just wait for this to hopefully. Yes, this is all just one message so far. Yep. It's incredible. And the fact that this is also aiming to overcome the explainability situation that is coming in with a lot of AI systems. So as organizations, with the more and more kind of regulation that is coming in with AI, we need to explain why we use AI and how AI does what we ask it to do. We have a full log here. Yeah. So it is also allowing us to have access to that explainability, which is incredibly powerful, realistically, moving forward. So she just take a time, because realistically it's just like, it's literally like someone doing it, right? It's like somebody going through, making sure it's the right thing, putting that information in that kind of process. So I'm gonna move my screen and show you an output that it created from this. I ran it earlier just to make sure that I had enough time to within the session, so you could see the output that it gave me. So I'm just going to stop sharing that for a second. I will go back once it's finished, hopefully before the end, so you can see how it kind of finishes that process off. So I actually asked it to do 50 in this instance, yeah? And what you can see, it gave me an incredibly detailed output. So I have their name, their title, the company, the reason that they added it in. So they found them with that correct title, or they were acting as somebody important in that sector on these kind of spaces. It kind of kicked out a bit of a mess here. This was how it was deciding to create the LinkedIn message. But then it has given me a specific LinkedIn message that is detailed to that individual based on the information that it had discovered that showcased them to be an e-commerce director in Europe. So for example, for Helen, leading e-commerce globally for Mason Margiela is an incredible role. I'm fascinated by how avant-garde brands translate their vision online. I'd love to connect and discuss your experience. That is incredibly quicker than this. It was incredibly quicker than me doing that and making 50 messages that are directly towards these individuals, right? So did I tell it the columns I wanted? No. It was the same prompt that I showed you. It just, I asked it for 50 earlier than compared to 10 when I actually did it just to try and speed up that process. Iona, basically it sends you an Excel sheets in the browser. Yeah, it gives you a full completed Excel. Well, it's a CSV in this instance that I can import into Google Sheets because that's what I asked for. But if I had asked it to connect with them on LinkedIn and send them, if I had premium LinkedIn, it could do that too. I would just prefer to do that. Yes, so it gave me the source so I could check it. So I could check, okay, this person is a real person and this is why I have brought them into your e-commerce directors within Europe, the 50 that you want me to find. So it's incredibly powerful, right? Did anyone expect it to be that detailed? Do you think it's not that great? What do people think of this process? No, it's incredibly different. It's a different mindset, I think, compared to how we have been thinking about AI before. This is actually allowing us to be incredibly informed and supported by these AI processes. So imagine once you get to grips with this, you connect it with the right things, the things that you can actually have it doing. Yeah, the things that you can actually have it creating for you in terms of the different kind of things that it has access to. Oh, it's just stopped. I don't know why. There we go. So I think in reality, when we start to, yeah, it's actually doing stuff. It's actually completing actions as well as having that glorious kind of accessibility to generative processes. So for me, when I did the 50, it took 28 minutes for it to find 50. But it didn't just find them, it made that Excel spreadsheet and it wrote 50 personalized LinkedIn messages for me to be able to utilize that process. If I just share how it ends, this is how the end of the 51 ended. So what it does is it opens, so once it's completed, it let me know that it was going to proceed by opening a Google Sheet to start prepping the 50 list. Here's the CSV. It tells me the source column uses tether IDs from the cited sources to verify their role. That's why it decided to include that information. I can download it here. I downloaded it. This is what it concludes. Yeah, so it was incredibly powerful. And that was an incredibly low entry prompt, realistically. That was like a prompt that if you gave more details, you would get much more out of that kind of process, realistically. You have to have ChatGPT open while it does it. And if it loses connection to your browser, you have to go back in and click back on. So if you've got loads of things going on, I think it's always best to have it sat on its own kind of browser login there. So yeah, have a go, have a look at kind of what it's capable of, and make sure you are mindful of course, what you connect it to. And I'd like to kind of suggest to you that you have a look at joining our AI exchange. It's a Slack channel that we kind of just talk about what's going on in this, and you can always access me through there if you've got any more questions about the ChatGPT model overall. But has anyone got any questions about it? Did you enjoy that? Were you like, oh, I thought it was going to be something totally different, or it's not doing what I expect it to do? That is very useful. Yeah, we've got some information on that in there, and it's a really good space. It's a really fun kind of AI space to kind of just talk to peers who are also going through this, who are also trying to kind of understand what is truly going on within kind of AI overall. So we generally have these sessions every 2 weeks, but we've got some extra ones going on purely because realistically there is a lot going on. We've got the Online Safety Act, which is causing issues with a lot of kind of accessibility and AI. So we're having an extra session on that. We're going to do AI washing in the next couple of weeks as well. And I'm just going to pop in the chat some of the kind of qualifications that the college kind of does to do with AI and becoming an AI practitioner. But please ask me any questions that you have, just so we've got a couple of minutes before the end of this session. But as always, it's been a true pleasure to spend our kind of late afternoon together. And do find me on LinkedIn, connect with me in the Slack channel, and let me know what you get up to. Let me know what you actually put this to work to do, because it's incredible. Some of the things that I've seen are really, really powerful when it comes to what this now allows you to do without much technical knowledge. Oh, thank you, Penelope. Thank you, Barbara. And if you kind of join the Slack channel, I will pop the slides in there, and we will also have the replay of this on our YouTube channel as well. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you at the next one. And have a really good rest of your day.